Hello, welcome to Daddy and the Don. Today on the transfer show, I will be joined by my co-host Phil, the Daddy, very shortly. But today, we will go through the following stories: Arsenal transfer news, Jesus, Fabio Vieira, Rafinha, Martinez, Tielemans, and so on. So many to do with Arsenal today. West Ham signed a midfield. Let's start again. West Ham signed a defender for 30 million today. More on the Eriksen bollocks. Mane on his way to Bayern Munich. Looks like that's going to be done by tomorrow. A few transfer news from Chelsea, Lukaku and Sterling. An update on Frankie de Jong. Calvin Phillips thinks won't go away. We discussed the Nunes and Haaland deals, even though they were confirmed last week. And we also discussed the Bazuma deal to Tottenham. Anyway, so I'll wait for my co-host, who will be on shortly. This isn't going to be a long show, about half an hour. We'll just go through each one very briefly. While you're watching, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Ask me any question you want and we will answer it. Remember, please subscribe if you've not already done so. So we are going to start with Arsenal. So obviously a lot of Arsenal news. This is just some of it. So Arsenal transfer news. So Arsenal are quietly confident over Jesus. There's rumours again today floating that Tottenham are still interested. Arsenal look set to sign Fabio Vieira. No, I didn't know who he was. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I don't bullshit. Never knew who he was until the deal came out. And apparently Rafinha negotiations ongoing, and looks likely that we will sign him back again. I don't think that is the truth. I think there's just negotiations and interest at this time. Also, we have a few other bits from Arsenal. Tielemans' interest has cooled since we've set up the deal for Fabio Vieira. And we are interested in Lisandro Martinez, the centre-back from Ajax. But today's reports now also report that Arsenal have competition in Man United. Now, I'll just go, a few comments right before I start. Pilina to Fulham. Salomon to Fulham. Yeah, that's Fulham. Yeah, we'll get to that. Both deals that they're not been confirmed. They're not been confirmed, but we appreciate that, Mark. So going back to Arsenal, does Jesus confident still? I think we put an offer in of £25 million for a player that was worth 50 million. I don't get the point. I don't understand it. They're telling you he's worth 45 million, and we go in and put 25 in. Oh, yes, he's got money on his contract. Yes, he's surplus to requirements. Just put 40 million in. City will accept it. They're not going to accept half his value. He is worth that money in this today's market. So very, very frustrating. Do I think we'll get him? I think we need him now, and I think we've had a lot of interest in a long time for him. So we do really need to get this over the line and stop being so stupid and just offer the money that they want or near it, not half of it. We'll get the deal done, because eventually, as Jay and Phil have both said to me on here and privately, teams will stop getting their targets, and then they'll look at alternatives, and they will be willing to spend that money on that alternative. So if Real Madrid want Jesus, they will offer the money. Tottenham will offer the money. Chelsea will offer the money. PSG will offer the money. Arsenal are being reluctant to offer the money, and that's our problem over the years. Rams had a good year, but we're willing to spend 30 million on a guy who's been relegated 2 years in a row, but not willing to spend 40 million on a player who has got a decent record, played for Man City, still young, got the ability to even get better. I don't know why it's still stalling. It's been talks now for over 2 months, and it's still not got to anything concrete. While I'm talking about it, I'll bring on my guest, the co-host. Hello, Phil. You all right, mate?
Bloody guest. You all right?
Yeah. I do you know what? It's just sorry. Yeah, pardon me.
So you're used to having all these guests on, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm only just starting. Obviously, you can see we're going to start with Arsenal transfer news. As you can see, we've got a lot going on. I'm just talking about the Jesus first. How frustrating is it as an Arsenal fan seeing Arsenal just muck around with these big deals? Because I was saying, we've made a bid of 25 million where we all know City won 40. Why do Arsenal do this?
Yeah, it's a strange one, really, because if you'd banged the 40 million bid in 2 weeks ago, it'd be lined up for wouldn't it? You'd be getting ready for the friendlies. But you've got Eddie and Nketiah signed up. This one, other people are getting involved now, so it's again just classic messing around, isn't it?
Yeah, let's not start on the Eddie and Nketiah. We're not here to talk about that bollocks. That's crap. But But do you still think Arsenal have it in their hands, or do you think the longer it goes on, the more chance that it will be hijacked by someone?
There's two sides, isn't there? So what Tottenham are the other player at the moment, aren't they? So they can offer him Champions League football if that's what he wants. Both of you in London if he wants the London life. So there's no difference in what club he goes to there. He could live in the same house, you're that close. But in terms of like the Arteta factor, maybe he did work with him for a little while, didn't he, when he was there under Pep? So that could be a swaying bit. But I know a lot of players like Conte as well. Like they'll go there just to play for Conte because of his reputation. But we don't know what that rapport is that he's got with Arteta either, do we? We don't know if he was one of his boys on the training ground or. So it's going to be quite a few things to weigh up really for him.
Do you think he will sign for Arsenal though? If you had to say yes or no,
I'd go for Arsenal, but the longer it goes on, it makes it sort of like even like AC Milan wouldn't be out of the question because they're just seeing the situation. They're watching you and Spurs probably going into like a bidding war. City will be there rubbing their hands that they've got multiple players. Where if you, like you say, if you just put the price in early when there was no one sniffing around him, they'd have probably just said, "Yeah, we need this. We just paid for Haaland. Let's balance the books now."
Moving on to a few other Arsenal headlines. There's quite a lot about Arsenal. We are dominating the papers and the reports. Rafinha, a lot of reports today saying that
Must
Arsenal...
be the only thing you've dominated for the last 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah. Rafinha is close to signing for Arsenal. Now, my boy Fabrizio says there are still no negotiations. Fucking hell, got there eventually. But there was a deal agreed with Barcelona, but that hasn't gone through at the moment. And at the moment, he's willing to go to Arsenal. Again, I don't know how true this is on some of this reporting, but do you think Rafinha is someone that Arsenal need at the moment?
You're loaded in those positions, right? So getting him in is just going to mess one of your other players up. So someone like Martinelli already eats quite a bit of bench for how promising he is. So is that going to affect his playing time? You've got Smith Rowe, Saka. That three doesn't need to be messed about with. The holding midfielder that I'm sure you're going to get onto later, that's good business because it's something you need to protect that three. And centre forward's the other issue, which is obviously the Jesus thing. So with that as well, like what's happened with Arteta and outspoken individuals and problem children? What's been happening? They have a fight. They go for basically free, don't they?
Yeah.
So if you say it's just going to be a waste of money because they'll have a fight with Arteta and he'll be gone.
Yeah, and it'll be a waste of money. I don't think he'll sign. I don't think he'll come to Arsenal. I don't think he will. I don't mind it, but it's not a position we need. He's a right winger. We got Saka, so I don't get that signing. Yeah. I don't understand.
Sometimes though, it's the agents just messing about, trying to fish for a better deal somewhere else. Like
and we'll get to that soon. Do you think Rafinha will sign? I don't think. I think it's bollocks.
I can't see it happening. The Barcelona thing I can understand, but to go to another English club after how he behaved at the back end of last season as well, I just think most teams and managers that have seen him, like how he behaved since sort of like Christmas, would just not want anything to do with him.
Yeah, I think that's about right, Jay. I agree with you. Arsenal seem like they've got a clue who they want before the window is even open. Basically. Fabio Vieira, I'm not going to bullshit you and act like I knew who he was. I didn't have a clue who he was. I had to check him out. He is a centre midfielder who can play behind the striker and on the wing, but preferably wants to be a number 8. So we've agreed a deal of £35 million, I believe. The deal is going to go confirmed shortly. Porto confirmed the deal. Arsenal just probably doing their paperwork and get the video up, and it'll probably be at some point this week. Now, it looks like a promising signing, but he's had 1 full year, and he seems to be the central midfielder that Arsenal want to go through going forward. Because of this signing, the Tielemans' interest is now cooled. So what do you think about the signing of Fabio Vieira? And potentially what Sky Sports are confirming is that Tielemans looks unlikely now.
Well, I'm not going to say anything against the player, but if it stops the Tielemans deal, then I'd say it's a bad move because I think that Tielemans is just what you needed. This guy, again, I didn't really know a lot about him, but like some of my Portuguese friends have said he's been like one of the key figures for Porto retaining the title this year. Again, it's only one full season, but they've all said like quite good things about him. And I know there's been quite a bit of backlash about the transfer fee from a lot of the Portuguese side, isn't there? Saying like, why did they accept that bid when his minimum release fee is only about another 10 million quid more? They could have probably made you come up and meet that, but they've sort of just took your offer straight away without even negotiating, really, haven't they?
I think I've seen that, but I think they realise that he's not worth that at that moment, and realising someone who's played one full year, they're still getting a good amount for him, seeing that he was free anyway. So,
but do you think something's happened with the Tillemans deal, like money or behind the scenes contracts?
There was a lot of reports saying that the deal was going to go through, and then on the same day, all these Instagram reports were saying exclusive, Tillemans to be confirmed today, and then literally 3 hours later, Fabio Vieira got announced. So no one had any idea about that. That came out of nowhere. So this is what I'm on about reporters. Don't listen to bollocks. No one broke the story. It came out literally 2 hours before Porto confirmed it. The Tillemans deal, if that doesn't go through, I'll be very frustrated. But I don't know this Fabio Vieira. I'm not going to say anything bad about him, but I'm not extremely excited about it because I'm not going to be like most Arsenal fake fans and go, "Oh, what a player!" You didn't know he was. Don't bullshit, Ollie.
The only thing I'd say with it though, geez, so like say you get Tillemans as well, then you're looking at a central midfield of Tillemans, Vieira, Odegaard and Partey then, aren't you? That's a lot of mouths to feed as well for 2 slots.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, Fabio Vieira might look behind, play behind Odegaard as well.
And then, like, this is what winds me up about, like, that El Neni contract. They've given him a contract, then they're going out and just blowing all the money on midfielders. If they knew
and they got Samuel Lukonga as well.
If they knew they were going to go out and buy all these midfielders, they should have just let him go and used that cheese for someone else.
Exactly. Marvin, you're probably right, mate. Now, you know, some of the reports I've seen, that's probably something that has been spreaded about. I do better than fucking Lenny as well. Thanks, Marvin. Big up. Just a few more lines on Arsenal. We'll move on briefly. Lisandro Martinez, Ajax defender. I do know who he is, by the way, because I'm football manager. He's decent, solid. Looking for another centre back, even though we have 4 now. Does this indicate that possibly Rob Holding might be on his way?
Well, a lot of people were thinking he was on his way anyway, so I think getting someone else in who is decent would just be the final nail for him.
Yeah.
Because I think he's a good utility man to have, you know, like as a backup, but I can't see with the players you've already got there and the players you're linked with that he could hold down a certain position.
Yeah, well, he's full choice now with Saliba coming back. Martinez was obviously going to be the backup to Gabriel if he comes in. And I know Martinez is decent, and Martinez also can play left back and he can play centre midfield, so he's versatility.
A lot of the Ajax boys can play all along the back 4 and defensive mid, can't they? So.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, so I think it'll be a good signing. Again, this is just reports. Apparently, we had a bid rejected, but not official. And now Man United are interested. But again, this is just reports. But a lot of people are reporting that we've made a bid. I can see this one happening, but we'll move on now. We'll go to the next story. Very brief one. I'm bringing it up today because it's something that's happened in the last few hours. West Ham have signed Narif Agudo, if that's how you say it. Apologies if it isn't. 30 million from Rennes. Never heard of him. He's a centre-back, but they've signed someone for 30 million. Boom. This is a strange one. I know you probably don't know much about this, but seeing that, thinking West Ham need a striker, and they go out spending 30 million on a player who plays in the French league, who no one's ever heard of.
The thing you've got to think of, though, is that Dawson played quite a lot of games last season, didn't he? And how old is he? 37, is it?
Yeah.
37? Yeah, so if he's getting a lot of game time, they've got to look at
they do need a centre-back. Centre-back, I knew West Ham needed one, but they spent 30 million on one that isn't Prem proven. It's a lot of money for a 26-year-old, and I believe he's Iranian as well. That's a lot of money. It's a lot. For me, it's a strange one. They could have got someone a bit cheaper. They could have got Tarkowski on a free.
There's some silly transfer fees going around though. If you read it all properly, like I was reading earlier, like I know it's obviously might be all bollocks and that, but they were saying like Chelsea stuck a 21 million bid in for Sterling, and you just sort of think you're hearing players that are that good and low fees, and then players that are chuffed for like 50+ million, and doesn't seem to be a balance, does it?
Oh, it's all on the age, isn't it? It's all on the yeah. Anything else you want to add on this? Do you know anything about the player?
So I hadn't heard much about him at all. I just only got the name when you see the team sheets and stuff, but I wouldn't have expected him to come to the Premier League. I hadn't heard anything about him to suggest he'd be a 30 million signing this year. So maybe West Ham are just rolling the dice because you think they're not going to be able to compete with like the teams above them for players. So maybe they've just gone in and paid a little bit more for someone in the next tier down just to secure a deal. Because sometimes you get these merry-go-rounds, didn't you? So like we take Ruben Neves as an example.
Yeah,
he's clearly going to move this summer, isn't he?
Yeah,
but
where?
Other teams will react to that. So if Calvin Phillips moves to City, Neves moves somewhere, then players will all rotate into those holes. So I'm not saying that Neves would go to Leeds, but that's just like as an example. So then someone else will make. So Jong will go to United, then there'll be a player available from United. So maybe Fred or McTominay would move on. So would Fred or someone drop down to Leeds, close enough to where he's living now, that he could make that move and not move house? But whether he'd want to drop that far down, but you will get about eight players could all move around just because of one transfer.
Okay, we're gonna get to this. The Eriksen bollocks continues. To me, it's bollocks. I'm not saying he's not gonna. I'm not saying that he's signing for Brentford 100%. I'm not saying he's confirmed he's signing for Brentford, but I've spoken to a few Brentford people now, and I've got the same thing. That Eriksen told Frank that he's not made his decision up yet. He's just thinking it over, and he's had nothing else on the table. Now we continue to get bollocks reports. Now all the Man United fans were running around stretching their cocks today because apparently Man United are now the front runners. Apparently they've been in contact. Eriksen's told Brentford he's not interested, and he's going to sign for Man United. Eriksen wants to stay in London. He told you this, but I'll be shocked if he goes to Man United. He doesn't want to move. He's happy in London.
The only stuff I read was obviously like Ten Hag was issuing the ultimatum saying, "Oh, get me De Jong, get me Eriksen." That's me vocal point. But that could have happened, but it doesn't mean either of them will come. So just Ten Hag.
We'll get to De Jong shortly. Anyway,
he can want all he wants, isn't it? He could want Lionel Messi. It doesn't mean he's going to get Lionel Messi. So a manager saying, "Oh, I want this, I want that." It's the same like if you take Mrs. out shopping, they want everything, but what's in your wallet? That's it. That's all you get in love. So it's the same with these football clubs. You can't just go there with a wish list and get everything unless you're Jose Mourinho and then moan about it 2 years later.
Exactly. And Marvin, exactly. This is all the reporters are saying is bollocks. They're all saying that he's told Brentford he wants to leave. Not wants to leave. He's not coming back, and he wants to go Man United. He wants to go Tottenham. Now I've been told that that's complete bollocks. I've been told by a source that Thomas Frank had a meal with him after the last Denmark game, and he said that he's just going to think it over for a few weeks, and they'll get in touch. He's had no other offer on the table. He hasn't spoke to any other club, including that bollocks Newcastle reporter that said that he spoke to Newcastle. He hasn't told Tottenham have not been in touch. Man United have not been in touch. He hasn't told Brentford he wants to leave. But these reports keep saying that he's not coming back and he's going to Man United. It's all fucking bollocks. It's all crap. It's all nonsense. It's all shit and chuff. I'm not saying he'll stay at Brentford, but I'd like to think he will. But if he goes anywhere, he's either going Tottenham or possibly West Ham. But no, West Ham again is complete bollocks that they're now interested. Exactly, and that's it. Exactly, Marvin. That's it. That's what he said to Frank. He's going to have a few weeks off, come back, and let him know he's a free agent. He doesn't need to rush in. The longer he takes to decide, the more you like to think that he will go to Brentford.
On the other hand, though, you'd be a bit worried as like if it was a Palace player, I'd just be a bit worried that the longer it goes on, worried that he's not going to like if they just came out and said, "Oh, first of all, it was we're going to sign it, we're going to sort it out after the internationals," and now we're sorting it out after the holiday. You think so? If he comes back from holiday and it's not sorted out like within half a week, there's going to be the speculation is just going to grow and the papers are going to jump all over it, and it just causes like unnecessary panic, I suppose, doesn't it? Like if you just sit down and say, right, what do you want? What can we give you? Blah blah blah, and try to get it because for Brentford, you'll want to get that done as quick as possible, isn't it? He's best player that's probably ever played for him, so you don't want to mess around with that negotiation. You just want to get your business done, get the wolf from your door, stop everyone sniffing around.
Yeah, Mark, you stick to Solomon and Paulinho. Who? Anyway, do you think he will? What do you think the gut feeling is on this, though? Do you think there is? He might not stay, but do you think he'll go Man United? Do you believe the bollocks?
When you see like on the bookies prices, they've got like Tottenham even money and Man United just over even money, but I wouldn't even have United in that race because that's suggesting it's a 3-horse race. There's no but I would say
the reporters are doing it. They're working with the bookies to get the bookies to put lower prices for people to have money on fake news. It's all a tactic. It's all bollocks.
Because for me, I would say it's going to be Brentford or Tottenham, and unless Tottenham, Newcastle were going to offer him like £1 million a week or something stupid like that, then he'd be stupid not to take that deal. But if it's just a normal contract and normal footballing conditions, it's going to be Tottenham or it's going to be Brentford.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's about, I agree with that. But all the bollocks that keeps going on is just nonsense. Even Brighton are interested now, apparently. Brighton. Deal agreed. Money on the way to Bayern. Medical to be done tomorrow. We spoke about this briefly. Well, we spoke about it last time. It's not a surprise, really. It's probably good for both parties that this has been agreed early on in the market, in the window. I forgot what the fee was, 35 million. It's a good deal for both teams. They're not paying too much. Liverpool getting a good deal for someone who's got a year left, who's 31. Do you think this will impact negatively on Liverpool, or do you think they'll just wish him all the best and they've replaced him and that's it?
Well, first off, he only just turned 30. I think it was in March.
Yeah, he's 30, yeah.
So you'd say what? He might have another 2 to 3 top years left, depending on injuries. So I'd be looking at it. So if you were him, fair enough, he can go and win all the trophies that Lewandowski's won domestically. What if they won maybe one Champions League recently, is it, in the last, say, 10 years?
Yeah. I think it's 2. They've won 2. When was the Wembley one?
I know they won one. Was it PSG they beat, wasn't it?
But I think the Wembley one. I think the Wembley one was about 10 years ago.
Yeah, so it's roughly like say 10, 11 years they've won 2. Yeah, but about 8 years apart. So if you're looking at like Liverpool, you're getting to semi-finals of Champions League regularly, and that front three that he was playing in, can you see him playing in a better front three any other time in his career now? That's probably the best football and the best teammates he had around him in terms of like his legacy. So I can understand when people want to move to win the Ballon d'Or and things like that, but you're moving to the German league, and we've seen what's happened. Like Lewandowski scored like 50 goals or whatever it was when he won everything and didn't get a sniff at it. I know they cancelled it the year he would have won it, but when you look at what Benzema's done this year to basically win it, it wasn't half of what Lewandowski did the year there was no award.
Oh, and the year before, the year that Messi won it.
Yeah, when Messi won it on his last season at Barcelona, won it when he did like one goal.
So he didn't score goals from August to October. Yeah. So
Van Dijk should have won it that year, wasn't it?
Van Dijk should have won it 2019.
Yeah.
And then 2021, Lewandowski should have won it.
Yeah.
Messi should have only won. Messi hasn't been the best player in the world since 2016. I don't care what anyone fucking says. He has not been the best player in the world since 2016. That's a fucking fact. Get off his fucking dick. Anyway.
But going back to this Mane thing.
Back to Mane.
What I've seen like a lot of people saying as well is, so like, normally it's all about money. But then he sends a lot of his money back to charity and stuff, and like he's built hospitals and stuff like that. So you think that doesn't sound like a guy that's interested in, unless he wants to build more hospitals. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's not like he's there to fleece people for his own wealth, is it? Unless I know he played in Germany before, didn't he? So he lived in Germany before he came to Southampton. So maybe that's where he first settled, because you get like a lot of African migrants go to like Italy and Germany to start off the visa process, don't they? They can't come like direct to the UK. So maybe he's got a lot of family settled there already. You don't know these things here. So if he wants to move there and it's better for him like his life and that, then fair play to him. But if he's gone there for a challenge and he's already at, I know he's won everything he can at Liverpool, but he's in a team that can win everything again. Going to Germany, he could probably just walk around like half-heartedly and still banging like 25 goals next season.
Exactly. We'll move on. Frankie de Jong looks likely. Well, if you're listening to reports, it looks likely. I know I asked you this again, so we'll briefly go through it. The rumours won't go away. Every day you'll get a Frankie de Jong rumour to Man United. Do you think this is going to happen now, the more and more we hear from it?
If he does leave Barcelona, this will be the only place he will go. So I've seen like they link him to like City and have a couple of names interested in, but I think because of the manager, sort of, he's not going to get De Ligt from Juventus at the moment. So that's his other golden boy that he had there, isn't it? So probably the most obvious transfer you could have predicted when Ten Hag took over. It's not been a great couple of years there, is it? Since he made his transfer, I know they're not overly happy with him, but a lot of that wasn't his fault, because the team went from being like the most potent team in European football to having a rebuild just as he transferred over there. So it hasn't been a great career there so far, but it's not all his fault.
I would say he's been. I think he's been okay. I'd say he's been consistent.
If he'd played in that prime Barcelona team, like if he'd moved there 2 years earlier, obviously he wouldn't have been developed. But if he'd been playing in it 2 years earlier, he would have flourished, and you'd be hearing more about him.
Mm-hmm. He's a great player, though. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think his Ajax form, when he was playing for Ajax, he was making more noise.
Yeah, of course, and I think he'll do well at Man United. I do think it's going to happen. Again, that's it. Really, anything else you want to add on that one? Because I don't want to be all day with you.
Yeah, no, I think he'll move, but I think it's just one of those ones. It's just about the money, isn't it? Once the money's right, the deal will happen. The closer you get to the window, the more they'll up the ante.
Okay. What about this one?
He probably will, and it'll probably be for a ridiculous fee as well. But I don't think they should. I don't think I know he gets in the England team, but I don't think he's the calibre that Man City would normally buy. If it was like, Man City I'd probably rather have Ruben Neves, if I'm honest with you. But if like City had signed De Jong, you'd be like, yeah, that's a Man City signing. If they signed
why? Why?
I just think he's.
But why? This is the frustration I get. I'm not saying Calvin Phillips is better than De Jong. I think De Jong's better. But because Calvin Phillips plays for Leeds, and because De Jong plays for Barcelona, doesn't mean that De Jong is automatically better than Calvin
Phillips. I would have said that when he was at Ajax as well. So I just don't see Calvin Phillips, the age that he broke through to the level that we would see him. Yeah, De Jong, from the age of like 19, you knew he was going to be the next best thing. Yeah, Calvin Phillips, what was it? We heard of him when he was about 24, 25. So what's he now? 26. So 24, he started making a name for himself.
He started making noise in the Championship.
Yeah. So for so many Premier League clubs and scouts, etc., not to have noticed him tells you that he wasn't making any noise. Yeah. So fair enough, you can get some late bloomers, but for Calvin Phillips, I just think he's, where he's English, the press get behind him, get hyped up a little bit too much. Good player, but not.
No, I agree to a degree. I think he's a good player, but he's not Man City caliber. And my point was just saying, why do people say this and this? I'm not saying De Jong is miles better than Phillips.
What I find in the
I'm
England
just
team,
using a lot of people go because he plays for England's team and they're not a top 6 team, he's automatically shit and he's not good enough. Yeah. I think he'll get into the Man City squad, but I don't think he'll start. He'll be in the bench, and I think it'll be a mistake. So I don't think he should sign.
But like when you're watching England play, like Declan Rice is our best player in that position, and Calvin Phillips is like that next tier down. When they play next to each other, it takes away from Declan Rice's game. You need to have Declan Rice in there plus a box-to-box midfielder, not Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. It just ruins things a little bit for me.
Jay, we have spoke Eriksen already, but we will go back to it now. Just before we get to Eriksen, just your
don't just have to talk about him, mate. All right, I'll talk about everyone.
But I wanted to get your opinion anyway. But Calvin Phillips, you put in the comments overrated. Do you think it'd be a mistake if they went to sign him?
Yeah, mate. He's not a top 6 player in my opinion. Like he'll do a very good job in the Prem, and he's a good player. But he's not a Man City player, is he? Come on, like what's he going to add to their team? They've already got Rodri, for fuck's sake, 10 times better.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's a nail on the head. That's all you need to say, really. And I feel Phil was right. He's better off staying at Leeds or going to someone like West Ham, Leicester, or Newcastle than going to anyone else. Because he wouldn't, we're not going to hedge our bets against Partey at the moment. So, yeah, I think it'd be silly. And Tottenham have strengthened their midfield. Chelsea have got Kante. No one else is going to want him. And if he went to City, then it's a mistake.
If he wants to stay in the England team as well, like what good's that going to do?
Just play for Leeds. Just play for Leeds and do what you did. And you'll probably still get picked because Gareth, your favourite of Gareth. That's it.
Yeah,
would have been interesting if they'd gone down, whether he'd have still been in the starting lineup. That would have been an interesting one.
Gareth's favourite. Gareth's got favourites. Don't worry about that.
I think sometimes I'm not saying some players can only play in certain, but do you know what I mean? Like we only heard about him. He'd been at Leeds for a long time, and then we'd only heard about him from that. So it's not like his skill level was amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of he grew into a Leeds team. It's like a lot of players at Brentford. Like you can say Ben Rama necessarily hasn't hit the heights he did with us that he has at West Ham. Obviously, he's stepped up a league. It's different. And his numbers have been really good, but he hasn't, do you know what I mean, been bedded in. He hasn't kind of won the West Ham fans over like he did Brentford because we allowed him to have that little bit more time, whereas Moyes is a bit more restrictive and he likes Bowen, who's a bit more simple and kind of gets at it more. Do you know what I mean? Whereas everyone was a bit more skillful. Do you know what I mean? So some players look better in certain teams. They're all top quality players, but...
Yeah. Go on, Jay. Just give us your thoughts on this update. Apparently, Man United are going to sign him. Come on, tell us about it.
I don't know what to say, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just need to look at things and say, where was someone quoted saying that? Because there's a lot of different journalists going, I heard from this person, I heard from that. There's nothing from the horse's mouth about anything. Like, okay, we know Man United have put an offer or a deal, an offer forward. And today people going, oh, Tottenham haven't made contact for 2 weeks. When the last 2 weeks people going, oh, yeah, he's nailed on to go Tottenham. Even the bookies think he's got nailed on to go Tottenham. But actually, there's no substance to that. So just look for the substance and actual facts behind it. The facts are Man United have offered him a contract, Brentford have offered him a contract, and he ain't given an answer yet. What we know is that he said he wants to stay in London. He literally said that. So can I see him going Man United? No. I think it's Man United arrogance going, we're fucking Man United. Everyone will come to us over any other team. Well, the league ain't like that anymore, I don't think. It is a little bit like that. You want to play for the best teams, but especially Eriksen, he ain't 24 trying to make a name. He's already made his name. Does he need to go to a United team where he might struggle to get in the Denmark squad? Like, I mean, I don't think he would ever struggle to get in the Denmark squad, but what do you want? Regular game time or a bit part? People moaning at you a lot, being under the spotlight a bit more often. Like Harry Maguire, he's not a bad player. And I think he's been actually given a bit of a bad rep because everyone's overanalyzing him. Like he hasn't actually had that many bad games at United. Everyone just picks on individual errors. Like you can pick individual errors from Rio Ferdinand's career.
Don't worry, I did that, mate. I did that for the whole career.
Yeah, but if you say that, you're wrong. If you say that, you're wrong. If you say Rio made mistakes, you're wrong. But if you say it's because it's the narrative of Rio was a great defender, blah blah. Because Man United won a lot.
Yeah.
If Harry Maguire won a lot, no one ever called him shit.
Yeah, it's facts. It's facts. It's the whole of Man United is in not turmoil. It's stupid to say that. Look how much money's in their squad and the potential they've got in their team. It's just for whatever reason that it's just not happening for them at the moment. And I said it on Orestes earlier. They just feel like they've got a God-given right to finish third, and it ain't like that anymore. A lot of teams have got a lot of money in retrospect, and FFP has changed things a little bit. Not necessarily loads, because Man City still spunk money like is no tomorrow. But yeah, it's not quite the league of 10 years ago, is it?
If it was the old Man United, they possibly could have just gone in there and done it. But you're not going to say, "Oh yeah, come to us to finish sixth every year." You're going to come to us to win the treble. Then you're going to come.
Different. There's a difference. Anything else you want to add, Jay?
He's coming to Brentford. I've said it the whole time. He's staying. I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. Just a few bits. I want to talk about Nunes and Haaland as well in a minute. Just want to compare them both. But I just want to briefly talk about a few things about Chelsea. Chelsea wants Sterling, and Lukaku is looking like he's going back to Inter. Jay, I'll start with you. Would Sterling be a good signing for Chelsea?
Yeah. Do you know what? Again, I think Sterling's another one who gets a bit of a bad publicity. I think he's proven Prem player, scores goals. I think he's just struggled to get into a very good Man City team who are like depth. The depth is crazy. Do you know what I mean? The Man City's depth is just unreal, and Sterling's been there a long time, so it's kind of a natural seeping out of old players, even though he's still top quality. So for Chelsea, he'd be a good player. But I just look and think, if your aspirations are Chelsea, why are you signing your rivals, not their best players? Do you know what I mean? Does that seem like, does that spank of like, we're going to finish higher than Man City by buying Sterling off them? Like, I don't know. It's like I said earlier.
That's actually a really good point.
It's like I said earlier, there's a lot of teams that I don't feel like they've thought about who they're going to sign before the window's even open. Like Palace, they're a very good example. They think about who they're going to sign before the window's open, and then they sign them. Like Eze, like Elise, like those are in the pipework from ages ago, because I knew Elise was talking to Palace from ages because my mate's friends with him. So I knew that was from January until the transfer window. From the middle of that, he was like, yeah, he's probably going to go Palace because Vieira's there. Do you know what I mean? That conversation was happening. But I don't feel like a lot of the big clubs, those conversations are happening.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Phil? Do you think Sterling will go? And if he does, will it be a good move? Or do you sort of agree with what Jay's saying, where it's a bit of a backward step for Chelsea if they want to improve?
I think potentially someone would have to move on, like whether they'd move off of someone like Pulisic perhaps, or ZH. Someone would go, I think, to accommodate that move. But I think for him, if he was going to go there and play every game, that'd be good for him. Because obviously at City, I don't think he's Pep's favourite. He can be really frustrating at times when he hasn't been in the team. He gets a run. He's quite a vocal person, isn't he, as well? So he makes a bit of noise. He's in the media a lot, isn't he? Like the media get on his form, get on any of his stuff he's doing non-football related. He's quite a big presence, isn't he? So if he has a bad game, it's a big thing. If he messes up, it's a big thing. If he goes and plays for Chelsea, plays every game, he'll play at his sort of like form and his level. He'll get consistency. When he's like just rotating with Jack Grealish and Mahrez every other week, you don't get consistency and you don't get to feel your way into a season.
Yeah, exactly. Lukaku going back to Inter, looks like it's going to happen now. It's just one of those things, really. It hasn't worked out. Egg on Chelsea's face. He'll probably go to Inter Milan now and bang about 50 goals next year. Any thoughts on this, lads? I'll start with you, Phil.
I was saying last week, sometimes the shoe doesn't fit, does it? It's just not a good fit for either. He'd go back to Inter, potentially it'd be the same. Because even when he was at Man United, he might not have been at his best, but he scored goals. He scored goals in this league as well with all the other West Brom, Everton. Yeah. He was always banging in approximately 20 goals a season. So you can't say that he can't play in the Prem.
No.
So 2 spells at Chelsea, both didn't work out. So it can just be a bad fit. You just move on and stick to what you know. Stick to what you good, where you're good.
What do you reckon, Jay?
Yeah, I think him and Pogba are like kind of the same type of player for the Prem. Is like they have spells, but they're just not consistent enough for like the fast pace of the Prem. They can do it in Italy, where it's a slow as fuck league, and people are going to moan at me for saying that. But
True.
It's yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's not a fast league, and they get the time. I can't remember who was saying it the other day. I was listening to someone on Talksport or something, and they were just like, Pogba, for example, we were talking about Lukaku, but Pogba, for example, he doesn't have to work as hard in an Italy team as he does in England. So he gets the time to be a bit special.
It can be a luxury player, can't he? He can
exactly
when he turns up.
Yeah, whereas here you've got to track back and you've got to do that defensive side, otherwise you get opened up. And it's kind of the same with Lukaku. Like you've got to defend from the front. And like, when do you see Lukaku ever helping the rest of the team out? He doesn't. Like, he's got a finish on him. He doesn't really have a touch.
No.
That is shocking. But yeah, he's got a finish. Like Phil said, we know he's a goal scorer. We've seen him score in England. And we see him bang goals in Italy, but he just doesn't work hard enough for the team, in my opinion.
Yeah, no high press when he's playing, is there?
Yeah, exactly.
Just before we get to Núñez and Haaland, Bazuma to Spurs confirmed. Great deal for Spurs. Bit of a fuck up by Arsenal. Is that where it is here? What do you reckon, Jay?
Yeah, what a player! When he played against us last year, yeah. Well, again, another one of them players. Same with Smith Rowe. Like, just one of those players where you see him live, you're like, fucking hell, he's a good player. Like, just little touches here, there, and everywhere. Breaks away from his man. It's a massive signing for Spurs, and I think that's a bit of intent, to be honest. And I think a bit of cleverness of going, like Arsenal going after that Vieira or Tielemans. Surely it's Tielemans. Fucking proven in the Prem. Bissouma, proven in the Prem in a bang average Brighton team. What can he do at Spurs? So yeah, I think it's a good move for Spurs, good move for Bissouma. So we'll see what happens from it.
Yeah, Spurs are looking good because they all of a sudden their centre midfield is looking so much better than it did like this time last year. Bentancur looks like he can play in the Prem. Højbjerg's been a cornerstone for them for a few years now, and now Bissouma. Clever Kleski, if he comes back, they're looking to get a right winger and Spence potentially. So Tottenham, if they can get these signings over the line, they're going to look like a good team next year, and they could challenge the top three at least.
Great price as well, wasn't it? That Bissouma deal.
I was going to say, do you reckon it's good signing?
An absolute steal.
Phil, do you reckon it's a full Arsenal here? Why didn't we go for him?
Yeah, again, it's another one that he was obviously available. You could have even slapped in a 30 million bid a few weeks ago. They'd obviously told him because they've accepted 25, haven't they?
Yeah, 1 year left on the deal, so we probably would have offered like 8 million now.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Okay, so good signing for Tottenham. Anything else you want to talk about Bissouma or?
No, I think like what Joe was saying, he's one of those players. He's not like going to stand out as like an attacking player will, but when they compare players and they say they're a bit of a Rolls Royce player, where just everything they do is simple, it's effective. He just keeps the motor ticking over, doesn't he? He's like the engine room of that Brighton team. Stuff he does off the ball as well is probably just as important as what he's doing when he's on the ball. And a lot of people don't see that in highlights.
Exactly. Okay, 2 big money moves confirmed in the past week or so. Haaland to City, Núñez to Liverpool. Basically, lads, I just want your thoughts on these 2 deals. I'll start with you, Phil. I know we spoke briefly about it. Who's got the better deal here? Is it obvious?
I think when you're looking at it, I know you can say like the German league isn't that competitive as well, but he's done it for more years. Núñez, we've got one season in the Portuguese league. Haaland, he was doing it in the Champions League at Salzburg. I think he scored on his first 6 appearances in it. Was it in that group stage? And it was a group of death, didn't he? I don't know if it was Dortmund they played as well, but it was Liverpool and another big team, and he was just scoring against all of them. Maybe Atletico Madrid. But he scored. He was the first person to score in his first 6 starts in the Champions League, I believe, like group stage. So that was when he was about, 19, 20? Obviously, he's gone over, 18, I think. He's gone over, and he's had 2 good years in Dortmund as well. So I think the fee, they've paid less. They've got more seasons in one of the top leagues in Europe, scoring a goal a game. So I think, City have got the better deal, but it doesn't mean that Núñez is going to be a flop or anything like that. Just think if you were going to take a winner of this, it is City on this occasion.
Jay, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I don't know much about Núñez, and if you look at like Phil says previous, then obviously Haaland is the guy. My worry is can he stay fit in a very, very high tempo league? because he didn't in Germany. And obviously, we don't know the reasons behind that. Physio is probably better at Man City than it is at Dortmund, something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't know the ins and outs, but he wasn't fit for the whole year last year. Is that going to be a worry for them? And we know they have lots of rotation, but I think, like Phil says around Sterling, is sometimes players need that run in a team. And especially coming to a new league, you need to get used to the league, because there's Prem players that are going to be looking at him going, yeah, I've got him. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying they definitely think they're going to have him in their back pocket, but they're going to want to prove himself against someone who's come over with such hype.
The other thing you've got to look at as well, though, is the Dortmund system, where they play like a 3-1 at the top rather than a front three and a false nine that City are playing at the moment. Is Pep going to change to that system with an out-and-out number 9, or is he going to carry on playing like the false 9? And can Haaland play in that role? So it's whether he'll change the system to suit Haaland, or whether Haaland has to fit into Pep's system, and you'll see whether that's going to work. Like, the Liverpool got the same scenario. Are they going to go, because they didn't have a proper striker either, did they? They rotated. So are they going to play Nunes as an out-and-out striker as well? But maybe whichever team adapts better to their new signing will get the best out of them as well.
The thing that I will say is that I completely, and I've said this myself, Nunes is unproven. He's done it 26 goals in one season in Portuguese league. Come on, that's not hard. But when you actually think about Haaland's only, the hype is only with Haaland now because he scored them goals in Champions League. He scored 15 goals in 14 games for Red Salzburg. If they weren't in the Champions League, he would have stayed there for a year or so more. Dortmund took a punt, paid a decent amount of money for him, and he scored goals. Now, he's got James Sancho didn't score that many less than him the season before, and he's gone to Man United, and I know Man United are shit, and I'm not comparing them to City, and he completely flopped. Now, Haaland, Pretsin Dakar replaced Haaland when he left, and he scored 58 goals in 2 seasons, and then he went to Leicester for 20 million. There's hype over Haaland just as there is as Nunes. So both of them are still not proven for me. Haaland gets a lot of hype because of what he did and how he did it, and you know, in his youth level. But there's every chance that Haaland can flop here. Will he? Probably not. Will he be as good as everyone thinks he will? Probably not. Will Nunes be really good? I think he'd be decent. Will he suit Liverpool's system? That time will tell. I think they're both great signings. Obviously, Haaland's a better value and a better deal because he's 30 million less. He scored more goals. He's playing the Champions League regularly, and he probably is the better player. But Nunes is, I think they're the same age. Nunes is definitely someone who can get better. Klopp's obviously seen something he likes, and he's willing to pay it. But I saw a post the other day: 80 million gets you Ronaldo 10 years ago. 80 million gets you a guy that scored 26 goals in the bench in the Portuguese league. That's, you know, and then all these Liverpool fans are saying, there's some deluded Liverpool fan I know down the bookies. No, I know who he is. I said, how many years he played for Benfica? He's played 4 years. He played 1. Don't act like you know who he is. It's the same with Arsenal, Fabio Vieira. I had no idea who he was. I had no idea who Nunes was. You've got to watch highlights to know who he is. So everyone knows who Haaland is. Everyone's seen Haaland for the last 2 years on the highlights. Now, I think Haaland will be a better signing, but Jay, you were completely spot on. If he stays injured, Pep's not going to have he's not going to want to stay along with it. He won't take nonsense. If he ain't playing, Pep will go, off you go.
Aguero got on his nerves with those injuries, didn't he?
Yeah. Tim Ream won't play, Mark. But do you reckon they'll both score next year, or do you think they both might take a time to get into it, Jay?
I think the league is going to be... I think everyone's a bit more settled this year. It seems like all the teams are a little bit more settled, because last year I think
COVID and still was about, wasn't it?
Yeah, and do you know what I mean? Like teams
short
like Wolves just had a new manager. West Ham's first season in Europa. Everyone, do we say West Ham signed a £30 million defender today or something?
Yeah.
So like, everyone's splashing the cash a little bit this year. I think it's going to be very competitive. And I'm not saying City and Liverpool had it easy last year, but obviously Man United were nowhere to be seen. Arsenal had a very slow start. Spurs was asleep for half the season. So I think it's going to be a very different league to what it was last year. A lot of teams look going to be very settled. They're going to get the players that they want. And I think it's going to be pretty competitive. And I know obviously the Prem stopping for the World Cup, but how much is that going to be on some players' minds? A couple of weeks build up till, etc., etc. So So yeah, they're definitely not going to get it easy at all. But yeah, look, we'll see. It's 2 big money signings. It's always great for the league, especially a player like Haaland who's had so much hype around him. It'll be amazing to see him come and just fucking absolutely smash it.
Yeah.
We're just asking the silly questions, really, if you know what I mean. Like not silly, but we're just saying there still is a question mark. We've got to see everything. It's like everything. The proof is in the pudding. Until you finish your season with 30 goals, it's all hype.
Exactly. Phil, I just move on, Phil. I know you want to talk about this. But Dele Alli apparently is being linked with Crystal Palace today. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, behave.
No, seriously.
It can come in as a paying guest to watch a game. That's about it. That's about as close as you can get to the pitch.
Just the balls. Do you reckon Haaland Núñez will do it next year then?
I don't think they'll score like 30 goals. I'm gonna cut off. I think they'll comfortably get 20, just because of the teams they're playing in and the position they're going to be playing in those teams. They're going to naturally get goals. Will they be penalty takers? It's debatable. De Bruyne's probably going to take City's ones, and
Mahrez takes City one normally.
Yeah, but there's people there that are going to take hierarchy over that, isn't there? So looking at that, he's going to have to score non-penalty goals, isn't he? So I'm going to cap him at maybe 20 goals, and yeah, same with the Núñez one. Mo Salah's going to probably take the penalties. So again, 20 goals tops for me. But if they both get 20 goals in the first season, they've done well for first season of the Prem for me.
That's Reece there. Haaland 25, Núñez 15. Thanks, Reece. Before we go, lads, just a question for both of you. I'll start with you, Phil. 2 players that you want Palace to sign before the window shuts.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's not any players that I've looked at to say, I want that player. But all I'm looking at is I'll put a name out there. I'll say Wan-Bissaka, even if it's on loan, because we need to sort right back position out. And I would say now, any central midfielder, box to box. We need to get another body in midfield.
Yeah, I think they're the 2 positions you lot need to improve on.
But yeah, Wan-Bissaka back at Palace, that'd be music to my ears. And then it hasn't got to be a starter, but just a decent, solid box to box midfielder.
Dele Alli could play that role for you.
Yeah,
if you go to Palace, I'm going to buy you a Dele Alli shirt.
The only box to box he's going to do is bloody from his Xbox One to his bloody Xbox 360. That's all he knows, isn't it?
He's a pellet. Jay, 2 players. Come on. Who do you want? Realistically.
Well, Eriksen's already going to sign, so I'm not going to say him.
Yeah.
They don't need anyone now, do they? They get back in a bit.
I think we need a winger. And whether it will happen or not, I don't know. Because fuck knows. But yeah, I think we need Ben Rama back. I won't lie to you. And probably another centre back, but a young one, not necessarily someone who's going to start, but a fairly pricey centre back, if you know what I mean.
Is there anyone in your in mind? Anyone you can think of?
Nah, I don't. To be honest, I don't know.
What about Rob Holding?
Nah, mate.
No.
He said a decent.
We get a lot of Arsenal rejects, mainly from the youth team, though.
But it's going to be interesting for Brentford now, though. It's like untested water, really, isn't it? Like going out and actually having a bigger checkbook, because normally you're looking at players nobody else can see, and like you took Ivan Toney from like League One and turned him into basically a 15-goal season Premiership player.
The thing with Ivan Toney is he was a bit of an arrogant prick because he actually wanted to go to the Premier League straight up.
Yeah.
And the only interest he got was Brentford, Rangers, and Celtic, and he went, "Fuck going to Scotland."
Yeah.
And then
they find a lot of players. All the players that come through Brentford, everyone else overlooked. So it's almost like they've sort of not like cheap housed it, but they've gone around the houses, found the deals, and found like diamonds in the rough. Where now they can go out and just go, "That's a decent player. How much?" and actually pay the money rather than having to sort of like not be skinflint, but like they had to be within their budget. Where now they can sort of like have a couple of luxury items on their shopping list.
Yeah, it's true.
Marvin, yes, he did. I know this for a fact. I got that.
It is a fact. Yeah,
it is a fact. No, from Dougie, best friend of Benham told me that Tony originally said no, and then he wanted Premier League, no offer. They had to offer him 5 million more, 20 million more in wages because he didn't want to go to Scotland. That is 100% the fact. Trust me on that one. Marvin's asking the question right back.
See, a lot of people say we need it, but yeah, I don't know. Aya didn't even play right back for Celtic, centre back for Celtic. So I think he's a right-sided centre back, and I wouldn't have said last season that everyone went, "You'll expose Brentford if you go down their right back. If you go down your left flank, you'll expose Brentford because they don't have a right back." Everyone says, "Oh, Sergi's better forward than he is back." No, he fucking isn't. The geezer don't score goals. I think he got 6 goals in the Championship the season we got promoted. Like, that's not a winger. You'd be going, yeah, he's definitely first name on the team sheet. Obviously, scored first goal against Arsenal, blah, blah. But he didn't have a bad game at right wing back. I'm not saying that's his natural position, but we fill him where's needed. And it's like the club. We're never going to overpay. We're not going to pay 20 million to Bologna for fucking Aaron Hickey. It's a joke. It's an actual joke. Yeah. What they've offered is what they're not going to up that offer from now. They've offered Bologna that. Maybe he's going to come, maybe he won't. So, look, the stance of the club is don't fucking spend money, stupid money, when you don't need to. Like, the perfect example is what's his face from Nottingham Forest, Johnson, in January. They wanted 20 million. Well, he hadn't finished the season, and at that point, he was on 8 goals. He's not a 20 million pound player, is he? So they may have made a mistake now, but those 5-10 million is a lot to a small club like Brentford. We've still got the smallest budget in the league. And yeah, I do rate Mads Roslev as well. Like, he's still a young player. He's got potential.
He does shit himself when players come up to him now. I spotted.
He's like 20 years old. It was his first team. It was his first game in the first league year in the Premier.
No, he's okay, but I don't know if he's an out-and-out starter.
No, he's not an out-and-out starter. He's got potential to go on from there. So that's what I'm saying. So everyone's crying out for a natural right back, but what is a natural?
But Aaron Hickey's more of a left back. So
yeah, exactly. So where does Rico Henry fit with that? On the point of Phil saying, like, we're good at finding diamonds in the rough, like we do fuck up a lot as well. Like, there is a lot of players that we've signed. Philip Hoffman from Germany, dog shit. Konstantin Kirschbaumer, fucking dog shit. So we have signed a few shitters in there.
But you're not spending silly money on them though. So, you know, like for every like 3 shit houses, you find a diamond. It balances the book when you then sell that player. So you haven't actually lost anything for making
exactly.
And Kirschbaumer weren't that bad. He just didn't fit in the system.
No, he was fucking rubbish, mate. What Austrian player has ever been good?
Yeah. No, Arnautovic, what's his name? Fucking West Ham.
Arnautovic, yeah.
The Ukrainian guy's not coming. He said no.
No, he said not Mudryk. He said a different guy.
Laura said this, but I haven't seen this either.
Yeah, I've seen nothing.
I haven't spoken to anyone yet, but I've heard this rumor, but I don't know. Fulham. Why do we have to keep talking about Fulham, Mark? Fulham were in for Tony, but I didn't know about Fulham. Oh no! I think it was that was it. Lyle Taylor. Once Tony said no, Fulham went in. Brentford then went for Lyle Taylor, and then Lyle Taylor wanted even more than Tony, and Brentford went, "No, you're 30. Fuck off." And then went back in for Tony.
That guy.
Yeah, the Ukrainian is for the B team. Yeah, I heard that as well. Alaba, he's Austrian. Alaba's overrated. He's just because he plays for Bayern and Real Madrid.
Yeah.
If you bring him into someone like in the Premier League, he'll get bummed. Proper. You see him in the Euros, he was shit. In the Euros, Australia, he was shit. Oh, anyway, Dele Alli to the Crystal Palace. Is it happening?
No, it can't happen. It can't happen.
What happens if Pardew comes back as well? Phil can't say. Who can't you stand, Phil? He can't stand Pardew.
No, that was before he came. That was before he came to Palace. I had to change my mind then. Once
he used to say, Pardew. He used to message me all the time, slagging him off.
When he was Newcastle manager, and I can't remember. It was Sunderland. I can't remember who the opposition manager was. They got a penalty. And he went up to that manager and started celebrating in his face, like dick pumping him and stuff, and probably giving it to him. And then Papa Cisse missed the penalty. I was saying that I can't remember who it was, but that Sunderland manager should have it might have been O'Neill. I was saying he should have gone back and just fucking given it back to him and just dick slapped him.
Yeah, and then Pardew became your manager.
Yeah, not long after.
Um,
Is what it is, isn't it?
Who's
Right,
Newcastle signing? Anyone? Or is it just all talk about everyone?
well, they want that striker, don't they? And apparently, there's rumours today that PSG want him as well. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. But they've been quiet, and they will because they've got Chris Wood. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Keep watching the channel for further lives in the future. The countdown is currently at number 37. Jay and Maka have been very vocal against the countdown, but what you got to remember, it's my fucking opinion, you pair of cocks.
And just remember, right, whenever you're watching this, guys, it's me that has to edit it and do it every day. So if you guys are hating the list, just feel sorry for me.
Listen,
I know it's coming.
I have made a couple of mistakes. I've admitted that privately to Phil, but some of them I don't think are mistakes. Some of them are where they should be.
I hear there's a Tiddlywinks champion, 100 times champion at Tiddlywinks coming up next. You're getting Kobe Bryant.
In the top 20
listen,
as well.
you can't slag off snooker here. We're snooker boys. So fuck off.
I'm not saying snooker isn't good. I'm saying basketball is a more elite sport with more people playing it. So if you get to the elite of that, you're better than you are a snooker player. It's fact.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm looking at fuck off. It's like Thierry Henry is in my list, and I know he's not the 6th best footballer of all time, but he's Arsenal's a favourite. Blah blah blah. It's opinion. There's preference, and I understand it. But we're not going to talk about it now, Jay. When I do the video after, you can come in. Yeah.
He's
He can only do 2 a day. Snooker is top. I don't know. Where are we at, Phil? 37?
What did I do? 40. Yeah, I think it's 36 and 35 coming up later.
Yeah, 37 was Lennox Lewis.
Yeah, 36 and 35 later. I think they're both decent. Yeah, they are both decent. They're both decent.
36 is...
No, don't ruin it.
36 is controversial, though, because 36 could be quite further down.
Yeah, he should be a lot higher.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of the ones I said I got wrong.
Okay.
I said he should have been top 25. Yeah, and I admitted that, and I will admit that. If I get stick to this one, then apologies. I should have put him a bit higher, like number 25. Mark Hill's messaging me. It's a transfer show. Mark, fuck off. Anyway, to end it...
Mark Hill's messaging me saying, why the hell is it 60 people? That's far too many.
Mark Hill just wants to tell you that Pellegrini to Fulham, Sullivan to Fulham. Who? Who? Did you know who they were, Mark, before you signed them, or are you gonna act like you knew everything about them? Pellegrini's only, yeah, they're both shit houses. They're both going to be shit, and you're both.
He's a Brazilian, so he's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's Rafinha's brother, isn't he?
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for today. The list continues. The shows continue. This time next week, Eriksen will be linked with PSG. There you go. That's it for today. Thank you, Jay. And thank you, Phil. And keep an eye on the list. I'm sure you're all going to be mugging me off eventually.
We've already lost 2 subscribers in the last week, so we can't afford to lose any more.
Well, I was getting a lot of people slagging me off on Twitter when I put Jerry Rice 47. Someone literally put posts like these. Make sure I know who not to follow. They think it's an American football countdown.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like,
anyway, I've got to get going, G.
I tell you, oh yeah, got to go home.
No, I've got to get to my match.
All right. Anyway, see you later. Bye.
See you later. Bye bye.
Right, bye.
Boys.